For more resources, visit rymonline.org.
The Local Youth Worker is a daily podcast that's centered on 5 questions each week. Ranging from the practical to the professional, we're looking for answers to the questions you're asking. Whether you're in full-time, part-time, or even volunteer youth ministry, this podcast is for you.
All right, everybody, we're back with Matthew Icard. We've talked about several things this week. Today's question, Matthew, we know that youth ministry isn't just ministry to youth or teenagers, but to the whole family. So a question we ask youth workers, what are some things you've done to foster those relationships with parents?
Yeah, I'd love to say that I've always done this well, but I think in the midst of just day in, day out ministry, it's maybe easier to just focus on your relationships with the students, sometimes to the exclusion of relationships with parents. Excuse me. Sometimes it's easy as well to, fall into the rut of feeling like if you keep parents well informed of your movements and your studies and calendar items that you've checked the box of effective parent ministry. But that's just not really the case, because parents are real people too. And I think the older I get and the longer I'm in one place, there's just the reality that parents need ministry. Parents need friends. Parents sometimes need a place to air their frustrations in life. And so we do quarterly parent meetings. We meet every 3 months and we talk through some of the nuts and bolts, and I give book recommendations and things of that nature. But that's very surface level, and obviously so. Do
you mind just interrupt you a little bit?
Sure.
Just kind of more specifically, is that on a Sunday? What time period? How long is that? Just some of those.
That's a good question. We struggled to find any kind of time that was going to be effective.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because again, our students and our families, we live in the shadow of Clemson University. Our church campus is literally an eighth of a mile from the gates of the university campus.
Oh, wow.
And because of that shadow, you've got academic pressures on our students that are immense, because it's getting much harder to get into Clemson University, and they all want to go there. You've got athletic pressures that are immense. The football team recently won the national championship, so now every high school, probably for me multiple times, but every high schooler feels like they have to now be a Division I national championship caliber athlete. You just got all of these pressures that they feel, and so our families are very busy. They're very, I think, they're stretched very thin, and so we've tried several different things. We tried an evening during the week. That was a terrible idea. We tried sort of piggybacking on our midweek small group time with the youth, and it just wasn't well attended either. And kind of just through a process of elimination, after about 4 different attempts, we ended up landing on, is this something that we could pull off during the Sunday school hour? And for us, that has been by far the most effective approach, to schedule in parent meetings during the Sunday school hour, which is for us is really about 45 minutes. Gives enough time to share good information, to spend some time praying together, to hear their thoughts and concerns. And it also provides a venue where all of the children of their entire family have a place to go and be cared for.
Absolutely.
Because oftentimes, when you're looking at a parent meeting, you have maybe one parent there, and if both are there, they've had to schedule in a babysitter, and so, if you've got nursery all the way through high school, Sunday school, that they have the freedom then to attend, once every 3 months, a parent meeting in that Sunday school hour. So,
just don't do it on the home game, right?
Actually, those are the best attended.
So that's something that you've done, is have those weekly, or the quarterly,
Yeah.
parent meetings. What are some other things you've done? I kind of interrupted you to get some logistics there, because that's helpful.
So we have now, I'm obviously full-time on our staff with youth and families, but we also have a full-time staff member, a female staff member. And so one of the things that we've tried to prioritize, and not always super effectively, but one of the things that we just kind of always have on our to-do list is, personal one-on-one meetings with parents. So Bailey, who is our full-time female staff member, she'll meet with moms, and they'll grab coffee, they'll grab lunch. They'll go for walks together in the morning or during the school hours when the kids are unavailable. And I'll try to do the same with dads, where I love to cook. So sometimes I'll have dads into my house, and I'll just cook us some breakfast, and or we'll meet at a local meeting 3 for lunch, and I'll go to them. And I think that's essential. I always make the effort to go to them because for me, it's my job to minister to people. For them, that's a closed window of time. 30 minutes, an hour that we have to be pretty faithful to. So just trying to meet with parents and talk with parents one-on-one as well. And it's interesting, and I don't want to make this sound derogatory at all, but as you get to talk with parents and interact with parents in that way, like you realize that for all the insecurities that you carry as a pastor, they carry some of the same insecurities as a parent. Am I doing this right? I don't even know. Like things, I can't take credit for my child's successes, and but I feel personally responsible for all their failures.
Yeah.
And so that's just been so beneficial to have those conversations. You also learn a heck of a lot about your students when you talk to their parents.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, that's why Johnny, thinks that way about that. And it's not always a bad thing. It's just sometimes you realize that a student has a fantastic handle on a particular part of a biblical worldview because that's just something their mom and dad emphasize all the time in their home.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been something we've tried to make a point of as well.
That's good. I know oftentimes youth workers are intimidated by the parents. Oftentimes youth workers are younger than the parents. Some youth workers don't have children, and so they feel like the parents are, looking down on them because of that. Was that something, did somebody have to kind of nudge you along to say, hey, you need to meet with parents? Or was that just something you kind of naturally did? Was a little easier for you?
I would say it was something I always felt a burden to do, but it was intimidating initially. I mean, just the idea of, kind of putting myself out there to spend an hour with a dad. And a lot of people in our church are very well educated because they're college professors. So, here sits a dad who's a PhD who, just discovered a planet, and we literally have a dad in our church. Serious? Yes, he's an astrophysicist. So, here I sit, and you're like, so, how about those tigers? Yeah, I mean, that was intimidating, but God's been really gracious in that, when we approach those times together, I mean, 99 times out of 100, it is always just this beautiful meeting of life and laughter around the gospel. And so, I mean, yeah, it's been something that was intimidating for me, particularly early on, because I was only 27 when I got to Clemson Pres, and we'd been married for only a couple of years. So we were just kind of new at this whole adult life thing.
Yeah.
But the longer I've been there, even though Rachel and I don't have children yet, I think it's just becoming easier and easier and easier.
Yeah. That's just a good encouragement for other youth workers out there to hear that, yeah, there can be some initial intimidation and fear to do this, but just the dividends that pays down the road. I mean, not like we're manipulating parents or anything like that, but just to sit down with a parent and them get to know you, you get to know them. It just fosters a deeper relationship. There's more trust there. So yeah, that's excellent. I think, yeah, definitely vital to be meeting consistently with parents and not just with youth. Because I mean, I was the same way. Starting out, I thought the parents were kind of in the way of ministry, and I just needed to get them out of the way and focus on the students. That's a good reminder. Anything else you want to add to that?
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. But I mean, it's just, actually, there is one other thing I'd like to share. I referenced it a little earlier. I think in working with parents, and this is maybe going to sound really odd coming out of my mouth, and hopefully I can explain it well. But early on, I think everyone who works in youth ministry for any amount of time, there's going to come a time where you just get reamed out by a parent. Somebody's going to walk into your office. They're going to shoot off the email. They're going to call your phone, or maybe even worse, you're going to hear about it through another parent, or sometimes even through a student that they are just ready to. They're out for blood.
Yeah.
And early on, with my people pleasing streak, I just didn't know what to do with that. And sometimes I would realize it's like, I don't even feel like I have anything to like confess or repent of here. Like, I don't even know where this came from. Or, we're just talking about stuff that's just life. It's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it occurred to me at some point, and my senior pastor, David Sinclair, was very helpful in helping me process through this. But it occurred to me at one point that for most people, the church and your pastor is like the one safe place where you can let your guard down and just let it all hang out. And 99% of the time, and I'm not trying to absolve myself of all, wrongdoing, but 99% of the time, parents are coming because they may be frustrated by anything and everything else. And so they're just coming with an opportunity to say, I am angry, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, and so again, I think coming back to be patient, be kind, be driven by the gospel, and just be willing to hear and to listen and to speak when given opportunity. And to, I would guess I would say to other youth workers maybe listening to this, you don't have to quit your job or feel like you're an absolute failure just because there's one difficult conversation with a parent. Try to understand the context. Try to understand what else is going on there, and certainly explore your own heart as well. But
yeah, and that's huge advice, because like you said, it's going to happen. If it hasn't, if somebody's listening to this, they haven't gotten the email or the angry phone call, it will happen. And so yeah, that's something encouraging truth to cling to in the midst of that. So thanks so much, Matthew.
Welcome.